population over time. When does a plant or animal change so much that it's a different kind of animal? A woolly mammoth is clearly a different kind of animal than an elephant. But how about the gray and black moths? Are they different kinds of insects? Or just different variations of the same kind of insect? How about these two dogs? Are they different kinds of animals or variations on the same kind of animal? This is where the idea of species comes in. A species is a unique type of living thing that is significantly different from all other living things. The characteristics that define a species are that all individuals of the species share similar major characteristics such as body structure, internal organs, and reproductive system. They occupy similar habitats and have similar roles in the ecosystem. They mate with others of the same species to produce fertile offspring. They do not mate with others of different species. The woolly mammoth is a different species from the African elephant. However, the two dogs are really variations of the same species. A terrier could mate with a Samoyed, and the puppies would be dogs who are quite capable of reproducing more dogs. The same is true of the black and gray moths. Species usually have two scientific names and at least one common name. The scientific name for dogs is Canis lupus. The first name is the genus. Dogs are of the genus Canis, which also includes jackals, wolves, coyotes, dingoes, and domestic dogs. The second name is the species name, Lupus. Both wolves and dogs are actually the same species, since they can mate with each other. Dogs are significantly different from wolves, but not different enough to be a new species. Domestic dogs are considered a subspecies of Canis lupus. In another 10,000 years, that may no longer be true. People control selection in dogs through breeding. The environment controls selection in wolves. Dogs and wolves will slowly become more different with each generation. Eventually, dogs may be different enough that they do become a different species from wolves. Natural selection is always acting. Natural selection acts through all aspects of life, through environmental changes, through relationships between predators and prey, and through accidental events like earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and meteor impacts. On a million-year time scale, plant and animal species are always changing because each generation lives under slightly different conditions than its parents. The idea that species change over time is called evolution. Evolution is the accumulated result of natural selection acting over millions of years. The species that are alive today, like the giraffe, elephant, and this grass, are really snapshots in time. The species that became the giraffe lived 1 million years ago, and some giraffes will likely evolve into a new species over the next 1 million years. Evolution is a constant, continuous process that shapes and reshapes all forms of life on Earth. Evolution in one species forces other species to evolve too. Plants with thorns are less likely to be eaten by some animals, so many plants developed thorns, like this acacia tree in Africa. Some animals adapted by evolving long necks and long tongues to get around the thorns, like the giraffe. Over the next 1 million years, the acacia trees will likely evolve a new defense against being eaten. The animals will evolve a new strategy to get around whatever new defense the acacia trees adapt. Evolution is driven by the relationships of the food chain as much as by climate. Here is a question for you to try. Evolution results from what process? A. Reproduction. B. Climate change. C. Natural selection. Or D. Ecosystem management. That's right. Natural selection is the cause of evolution. When we look at the world today, scientists estimate that there are about 1.5 million different living species. That number includes plants, animals, bacteria, fungi, and everything else that can be considered alive. The fossil record shows us fragments of many species that lived in the past. Most extinct species gradually evolved into new species. They didn't disappear at all. The history of life on Earth is a continuous sequence of species changing into new species through natural selection and evolution. Sometimes the older species becomes extinct, like most of the dinosaur species. Most of the time things are not that dramatic. New species can evolve whenever a population of plants or animals gets isolated from the rest. Over time, the isolated population becomes a new species. The history of life is like a branching tree, with new species evolving from isolated populations of existing species. Here's a thought for the end of the lesson. Think about all life on Earth in terms of a single healthy body. Variation, adaptation, and natural selection are the means by which nature ensures that life as a whole is healthy and strong on our planet. Evolution is the result. As the planet changes, life changes with it.